Hello students, welcome to this new session of Python. I received requests from many students. You are having problems in completing the assignment, specifically the nested for loop, where you have to create the pyramid patterns. So today's session is just a revision of what points you can keep in mind in order to create pyramid patterns. Remember, this is just one possible approach where through which you can create pyramids easily. There may be many approaches and many ways in which you can create pyramid patterns. So let's get started. Now, what we do is we start with a single for loop, but again we start by creating new file, and as usual we save the file. Pyramid pattern. Uh, Fine. What we do is we are going to start with a simple for loop for I in range. Say for example, I want to print just 1 to 5, one row of data. So what I am doing is I am taking n equals 5. You can take any value of n. We are starting with n equals 5 and I want to print one line 1 to 5. Because I want to start from 1, I will have to give 1 and n plus 1, because remember, for loop the range function is up to and not equal to. I will print the value of I comma and equals slash t, and let us try to execute the program. Yes, we are getting this. Now let us try to use the Excel sheet to learn and understand how to make the pyramid easier. So what I have done is, if you can observe over here, whatever we have obtained on the output on the Python IDLE, that is what I have drawn. With a single for loop, first we are just creating one row of data. This data belongs to a single row. Now say for example, what I want to do is I want the same data but for 5 rows. So what am I going to do if I want the same data for 5 rows? So I will have to execute uh, this loop 5 times. So what we do is I create a loop outside this loop which will print this data, because this is printing one row of data. Now I want to print this 5 times. So let me have one more loop over here for j in range 1 comma n plus 1, and here it goes. The indentation must be correct. Definitely after the row is printed I want to leave one line, so I will just give print. And now let us try to check what happens. If you observe carefully, we get the data that we want, 5 rows of data. That means what it tells. Just try and pay attention. Let us now remove this. We just keep a single space and once again run. Yeah, this becomes little bit more neat output. The inside loop over here is printing the number of columns. How many columns we have? 5 columns. And the outside loop is printing the number of rows. Just to check it up once again, let me make changes to this inside loop. If I make it n, then definitely it is going to print uh, the number of columns. Previously it was printing 5, now it is going to print 4 columns. So let us try to check how it works. And yes, you can see that now it is printing 4 columns. In the sense, depending on the number of columns you want, you have to control the inner loop, or the number of columns are controlled by the inner loop. Now once again, let us make 5 columns and I want 3 rows. So I will put n minus 1 over here, because again it is up to. Let us check it up. Yes, again ensuring the fact that the outer loop controls the number of rows in the output, the inner loop controls the number of columns in the output. Remember, this is one of the ways in which your task of drawing any pyramid is going to become easier. Once again, we create 5 by 5 matrix, n plus 1 and n plus 1. Let us try to execute. Fine. Now what I want, say for example, I want to change the output. I don't want this. Second row, I don't want this. Third row, I don't want this. Fourth row, I don't want this. That means in the first row I want 1 column, in the second row I want 2 columns. That means the number of rows and columns always remain the same. So what is happening? Just try to observe. The number of rows are 5, but where the change is occurring? The change is occurring in the number of columns. So what I need to do? I need to just change the inner loop. That means it starts from 1, but it goes till 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5. So let us check out over here. Say for example, it should start from where the outer loop is starting, and it should go to, it should start from 1 and it should go till j plus 1. Now let us try to execute. Yes, as you can see, the output over here, 1, then 1 2, then 1 2 3, then 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4 5. Again, ensuring the fact that the number of columns are controlled by the inner loop, the number of rows are controlled by the outer loop. So I hope this is the first thing that is clear. Now say for example, I want something else as far as the data is concerned. That is, let me go over here, and I don't want 1 and 1 2 and this. I want 2 2, then I want 3, then I want 3, 4 4 4. Same way over here, 5 times. So now as far as the nested looping is concerned, there are 3 things which you need to keep in mind. Let me go to the code. Yes, here it is. At present the outer loop is selected, number of rows, the inner loop, number of columns, and from where we are changing the value. It is this print command where we are changing the value. Now if I make it j, why I need to make it j? Because what is the output that I want? J is the outer loop. First row I want 1s, second row I want 2s, third row I want 3s, Fourth row I want 4, fifth row I want 5s. So by making j over here, what I can do is, now let us try to check the output. And there you are, we get the output that we want. Okay, so uh, three things to consider as far as a nested looping is concerned. Still a fourth step is pending, which we will try to check it up, but the values are controlled by the print statement. Again, that can be ij, or what I can do over here is I can take a third variable k equals 1. I can print the value of k over here, and depending upon where the value of k I want to increment, I can put it over here. It is after the inner loop that the value of k is getting changed. So again, let us try to execute. In the sense, what I am trying to tell is, we have multiple ways in which we can get the same output. It depends on how your mindset is working. Now, say for example, what I am doing is I am taking Control X and I am putting it over here. So now what is going to happen? Just try to think. Can you think of the output over here? Every time the inner loop is going on, the value of k keeps on increasing. So let us try to check. So here, there you go. What we have? We have a series of continuous numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and so on till 15. So it depends on the values that we want in the output. That value can be controlled through a variable in this print command, and that can be I or j. That means the variable or the counter variables of the inner loop or the outer loop, or it can be done through a third variable as well. Now, say for example, I am changing something, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am removing this. I want 3, 4, 5. Sorry, just a moment. I want 4 and 5. I want like this. The number of rows again remain the same, that is 5, but the number of columns now are in decreasing order. That is, first they are 5 and then the number of columns are decreasing every time. Moreover, the value also keeps on changing every time. So what we do is, we'll write the loop for this spacing little bit later on, but again, let me do something. Control C, Control V. Let us first try to get the values proper and then we'll arrange the spacing part. Say for example, I want the values like this: 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 and 5. So first we have the values in this way and then we'll arrange the spaces that we have on top over here. That is, this spaces we'll look after, but first we try to have the values. So yes, I want to print 1 to 5 in the first row. Second, the value starts from 2 and it goes to 5. So Where will I make the change over here? I am not taking k anymore for the moment, so I just put a hash over here. I want to start I from the value j until where it should go. Definitely it should go till n plus 1. And what value it is going to be printed, I or j? Let us try to check with I first. Definitely this I am not interested in, so now we finally execute the program. So there you go. In the first row 5 columns, second row 4 columns, third row 3 columns, and in the last row 1 column. That is what we have done. The inner loop, the number of columns first are maximum and then keep on decreasing. So if we start from j, j is 1 initially, second time it will be 2, third time it will be 3. So automatically the number of columns keep on decreasing. So depends on what output you want, you can increase or decrease the number of rows, columns and the values. So now we go for the fourth step. What is the fourth step? Again I repeat 3 steps. First step, number of rows. Second step, number of columns. Third step, the variable in the print command in the inner loop. Now we want to arrange this spacing. How will we arrange this spacing? Say I want this output to be like this. So how do I get this output? In the first row I don't have any spaces. In the second row I have 1 space, then 2 space, then 3 space, then 4 space. So definitely I have to have one space loop as a inner loop. So I will write over here, let me put for SP in range say for example, sorry, and I am going to print, I want to print a space. So definitely I will have to write and equals, just a moment. Okay, so when the value of j is 1, 1 space, it is going up to 1, so no space. J is 2, then 1 space, and so on. So let us try to check whether this is working fine or not. It has come, but it has come in a reverse way, in the sense what we wanted was little bit different. Now why this difference is, let us try to check our code over here. Here we have left some space. Let us try to remove this and let us execute the code once again, and there you go. Now it is absolutely fine. Sometimes small errors make things look in a different way. This is the output that we wanted. If you try to observe the Excel sheet, this is what we wanted as the output, and that is what we have. Yes, the space on the left can be removed, but that is just for a formatting sake. But we have 1 2 3 4 5, 2 3 4 5, 3 4 5, 4 5 and 5. So this is one pyramid. This you can think of as a reverse triangle. Now unfortunately or fortunately we obtained this output, but we want some reverse output of this. Say for example, what I want as output is, let me remove this. I want 1 in the first instance, then I want 2 and 2 in the second instance. Sorry, I should have started 1 over here. 2, I remove this, I remove this. 2, 3, 3, 3. Then I have 4, 4, 4, 4. Again, say for example, we take till 4, no problem. So I want something like this, a pyramid, something like this. I can go on till 5 or whatever number I want. So we had already seen how to print these values. The values can be through the outer loop, that is the J loop. But what happens in the previous case, the spaces were first 1, 2, 3 and so on, increasing order. Now we have spaces in decreasing order. So what we have to do now, let me go to the code. Yes, here it is. For SP in range, let me write n. That is, first we want n spaces. Just let us try to check how many spaces, because we are printing till 4. So 3 spaces, say for example. So let me first change the value of n to 4, because it is up to, so it will print 3 spaces. And then every time I want one space to be decreased. So this time what I will have to do is, I will have to take some variable for sp space equals n, and here I will have to use the variable k. It is just for our understanding purpose, otherwise any variable name, but definitely n cannot be there. And what I have to do over here is, I will have to decrease the space sp minus 1. Why I have to decrease the space? Because first if I leave 3 space, just try to observe. First, if there are 3 spaces, second time it should be 2 spaces, and third time it should be 1, then it should be 0. That is why. So now let us try to check how it works. Oh god, yes, but because the values that we have are different, the inner loop is different, the values we need to change. We need to print in the reverse order. So uh, it should start from 1 and it should go till j plus 1, and here it is going to definitely print the j value. Just let us try to take a look at the Excel sheet. What we want, we want 1 first, then 2 twice, 3 thrice, 4 4 times. So first time the inner loop only 1 column, then 2 columns and so on. So j in 1 to n plus 1, the inner loop should be executed only once. So say for example over here, for I in range 1 comma j plus 1, so it will be executed only once. Now what about the space loop? K in range sp, sp is 4, that is 5, fine. Now it will print 3 spaces and then, okay, this seems to be fine. Let us try to check once again. And yes, there you go, we have 1 2 2 3 3 4 4 4. If I increase this by 5, but again see what happens is, we want centered, so I will have to make one more change over here, just a small change, and is equal to, that means 2 spaces. So let us try to check. Yes, it's perfectly fine. Basically, it's just a matter of setting two things: how many spaces you want in front, uh, that is this side, that is the first step, and whether you want a centered triangle, that is almost like a equilateral triangle, or you want a right angle triangle. So if all the edges of the triangle are 60-degree, then it becomes this way. So then in that case, in the print command you have to leave one more space. Otherwise, for a right angle triangle, no space is good enough. Okay, this becomes almost like a right angle, and if I don't want to leave the space, then I can remove the loop for the space. So it depends on the output basically that you want. Now, one of the pyramids that basically I had given you in the practical assignment, sorry, let me try in the Excel sheet. Say it was, let me remove all this stuff because I need to delete it, and I will try to print over here. Say I want the first row to be printed one time, second row to be printed three times, fourth row to be printed five times, and seven times. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I am going in the reverse order. 7 will be printed. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 5, 5, 5, 5. Yeah, I want something like this, a structure something similar to this. So what am I going to do? If I want something similar to this, I have to control both the number of columns and the values that I want to print. I want odd number of values 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and that also to be printed odd number of columns. So basically I will have to make something happen over here. Say when the loop, when the value of j is 1, I want only one column. When the value of j is 2, I want three columns. So if I put some formula like j star 2 minus 1, what will happen? Just let us try to check. For the value of j is 1, the number of columns will be 1 star 2, that is 2, minus 1, that is 1. For j equals to 2, it will be 4 minus 1, that is 3, and so on. Now what value I want to be printed? Definitely I want the same value to be printed, that is j star 2 minus 1. Again I can manage with k as well. Now this time the spacing concept will change little bit. N star 2 minus 1, because the numbers keep, just let me have a look. Let me show you this structure. What is happening? We want 4 spaces first, but it is almost double the spaces. Okay, let us just try to execute this, and there you go. We have got the things as per our requirement. That is what we wanted the output to be. In the sense, first we want maximum spaces, then few less spaces, then few less, and so on. Yes, definitely the trick is of n star 2 minus 1. Here the Excel sheet may be showing little bit different, but basically here we are having one space in end, and that is why we have to give SP is equal to n star 2 minus 1. Let us try to check what happens if I am giving n minus 1, and definitely if I am giving n minus 1 it will be 1 over here. It does not work. Then what I will have to do is definitely over here I will have to make the change, and now let us try to check. Still the things will change little bit, in the sense without any spaces. This is also a perfect pyramid pattern, a triangle, but where you don't have the spaces in between. In the previous case over here, after 1, after 3, after 5 we were leaving spaces. That is why the space, in the sense if we try to observe this particular part, will make a change. So yes, you need to manage the spacing little bit. So just to summarize, students, once again, uh, any given pyramid can be broken down into 4 steps, and if you do this 4 steps properly, most of the times you should be able to come up with the pyramid pattern. First, the outermost loop controls the number of rows. Second, the inner loop controls the number of columns. Third, the print statement within the inner loop controls the value. And fourth, you have an inner loop at the same level as that of the column, the loop for the column, and that with that you can control the spaces. So that is all that we are supposed to learn as far as nested for loop and creating pyramid patterns is concerned. Hope this session was fruitful to you, and now you should be able to uh, create or draw any pyramid patterns that are given to you. Thank you.